Hey, welcome back in Eye on Agriculture. I'm Brityne Rucker. As wheat harvest wraps up here in Kansas, we're taking a look at how Kansas farmers fared. I'm with Aaron Harries, Vice President of Research and Operations with Kansas Wheat. Aaron, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Now, overall, how was the wheat around the state?
Well, the theme seems to be better than expected, and we can't ignore the fact that there were some pretty severe drought areas again through the central part of the state that, feel for those guys who've had a tough year now for 2 or 3 years in a row. But there were some really good yields in parts of the state too, and better than expected. So we increased the size of the crop by over 50% from last year, which is extremely dramatic, from 200 million bushels to almost 300 million bushels. So a significant improvement. There were some winners and losers as in all these situations, but we got some rains that came on late in the spring and late May and really kind of helped move that crop along.
Yeah, let's dig into some of those numbers a little bit. What was some of the lowest yields you saw, and where did you see those?
Well, lowest yields were in the 10 to 20 bushel range, and that was kind of in the heart of the state. If you go from Salina down to Great Bend and Hutchinson, kind of northwest to Hayes, that was really a trouble spot for the drought. And, they just didn't catch those rains in the spring, so those were some of the lower yields that we saw.
Was there any location with the record-breaking yields?
Pretty close. There were the Highway 36 corridor from north central Kansas out to northwest Kansas. There were some combines out there where the yield monitors were hitting 100-plus bushels. So I don't know if those are records locally, but I know a lot of farmers don't experience those yields very often. And then just in that part of the state, they almost caught a rain every other day, it seemed like, for a period, and in fact ended up having trouble getting the crop out of the field because it was raining so frequently.
Now, we know the famous saying is you can never make a farmer happy, but overall, what was the feedback from farmers this wheat harvest?
Well, I think pleasantly surprised in most locations, and you've got to remember that last year we didn't harvest 30% of the acres in Kansas. They were that bad that they were just abandoned. So the fact that you get to run the combine through a field is at least a little bit of a moral boost compared to not harvesting anything last year. So we wish prices were higher. They're pretty low. You can counter that if you get a lot of bushels and kind of break even or a little bit or better in some of those scenarios. But the low prices and people who had those low yields, it's really a tough year for them.
Well, Aaron, thanks so much for coming on the program and chatting with me today. Everyone, stick around. Eye on Ag will be back after the break.